Okay, so we're recording.
I'm gonna have to press stop because it's gonna record on that computer. As of now, this is supposedly recording. Press the button. That's all it ever was for you.
All right, so before we post it, can you edit the front of this off, this
Oh.
conversation off?
I would have to, I'll have to get all the files. As soon as whatever you guys do here, I'll have to edit.
Okay, good. All right. So let's call the meeting to order. Okay. We rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anne Marie, can you call roll?
Kimberly Breland,
She's here.
Dan Castricone,
Here.
William Clark, Gary Hebner,
Here.
Heather Kidda,
Here.
Christopher Scanlon,
Here.
Sonny Takeuchi, here. Quorum is present.
Let the record know that Jared Kamar, Kahmar, is here. Margaret Munkle. Anthony Weed. And of course, Jeff White. I miss anybody? Yeah, I was worried about the administrators. Yeah, okay, good. First up on the agenda is to accept resignations from the elementary school principal, elementary physical education teacher, and the cook manager. Has anyone heard anything different that we should not accept any of these resignations?
No.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to accept the resignations, all three.
There a second? Second. Discussion?
The effective dates, that's up to us.
Well, Jeff, the elementary school physical education teacher effective date is September the 27th. Does that mean that he will be working with us until then?
I'm sorry, Dan, did you say, are you talking about Anton Belazarov?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we changed the date. He went to HR today and he is not going to be able to come back. So we changed that date on the board docs to August 29th.
Okay.
And is Ms. Jean Paul still September 20th?
Yes,
So I'll amend my motion with the updated date for Anton to August 29th. Who was the second?
right, and that's reflected in board docs, Gary.
Any further discussion?
Yes, do we have an exit committee,
Exit interview.
exit interview committee?
We voted
Approved
to
do it, but
approve
we haven't
one.
set a committee. To my
I would just like all three of these people to be exit interviewed by the committee.
Agreed.
There are a few previous people. I don't know if they've been sent a letter. Aubrey Fowler and Eric Mann. They've been sent a letter. They previously were let go back in July and last board meeting.
Jeff, did you hear that?
No, I did not.
Okay, Chris.
So,
talk to
so,
that.
so Jeff, Aubrey Fowler and Eric Mann were both let go. Have they been sent letters so they would have the opportunity to perform an exit interview?
Yeah, I believe everybody got a letter. I know that Ed's been working on that. Margaret, I think you spoke to Ed about these exit interviews. Do you want to weigh in?
So we have a date of September 20th, I believe it is. It's a Friday where we've reached out. My mute is coming undone and done again, so I'm sorry if I'm cutting in and
You only
out.
lost it for a millisecond.
So the exit interviews are being scheduled for September 20th. We are reaching out, well, Ed has been reaching out to the people who are no longer with us to see if they are interested in joining, and if that date doesn't work, that we certainly can pick a different date. We could also do it via Zoom. I believe Ed was planning next week to share that schedule with everybody to see who was available that day and cared to join the exit interview committee.
Margaret, do you have, from our previous experience with this, a uniform set of questions?
I do. I have shared that with the district. I certainly can forward that to you.
Would you please? Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. Number one, the two people that we're referring to in July, they weren't let go. They quit. They released themselves. Right?
That is correct. And we
Okay.
do exit interviews no matter how you've left the district.
Right. And then the other question is, Mr. Castricone, I'm under the impression that I thought it's the board is supposed to organize the committees. So wouldn't it be us figuring out who's on the committees and doing what?
We were planning to do that at the next meeting.
Okay, but it's Mr. Castricone, it's the board that's supposed to be organizing and doing that, isn't it?
That would
Yeah.
have been my misunderstanding if that is the case. I've never had the board run exit committees before, and so it was my suggestion to get.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. I just thought that all committees were supposed to be formed and built by the board. But I could be greatly mistaken. You know, that's why I'm just putting it out there. I was curious of how it worked.
So what did we decide at the last meeting? We voted on a resolution to form an exit committee.
Yes.
And I believe we asked for one board member and an administrator and the two board officers to be ex officio.
Yep.
So they could come and participate or not participate. Vote, you know, or not vote, not that you take a vote on an exit committee. And then it's up to us to decide who would be on that committee. And I guess that could be anyone, depending on who's available that day and who wants to do it.
Yeah, they're not evaluating the information. They're just
Yeah.
trying to get some
Just
some
asking the questions.
feedback. Yeah.
So, I don't
So
know.
like,
Kimberly, do you
if
want to
a
be on?
board person, no, I'm just saying, like, if it was for each interview, we could flip flop all the different board members. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I think that's
I
appropriate.
mean, it doesn't have to be a set group with the same names every single time that's
Right,
on
we
the
do a
committee.
Resolution to be one
Okay.
board. member. And,
Okay. Okay. No, I was just curious how it was working. Okay, great. Thank you.
I may be confusing it, but do we also say maybe the head of the respective union?
we said in that resolution that if the employee wanted to bring, you know, union or
It's their
lawyer
choice.
or whatever they wanted to bring, that they were welcome to bring whoever they wanted. Yeah. Okay, then we've got,
We vote on that.
oh, all in favor?
Aye.
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 You want
I,
to pass?
So all six of us, right? Okay. Then 2.2 is the substitute teachers. And the extra class activity fund central treasurer. I'm going to split these up. Can I have a motion to approve Ryan McGuire as a daily substitute uncertified?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve Bernadette Saladino as the substitute teacher certified?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't know her. Have you interviewed her, Jeff?
No.
I know, I think
Jerry.
Ryan was there last year, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Ryan McKenna, didn't we approve him at a prior meeting?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I
I,
think
we
we did.
approved them.
McKenna, we did. McGuire, we didn't.
Oh, okay. All in favor of approving Bernadette Saladino?
Aye.
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 I,
I'm all,
Was that you, Heather, saying aye?
yes, it was.
Okay, good. Okay, and the last one on the, is the extra class activity fund central treasurer. Can I have a motion to, for discussion?
So moved.
Or a second for discussion?
Second.
This was previously on as a stipend, correct?
Yeah. So now is this, have we changed this from a stipend to something else, the way that it's listed?
No, there's a $3,800 amount, and that's the stipend.
Okay, how many activities or clubs would this person be keeping track of?
Jared, do you have the clubs, the number of clubs? You have that number of them?
I I don't have that number present.
It's all the clubs at the school district, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. It's
Refresh your
I have
recollection.
a question, but we haven't approved all of the clubs yet. Right?
No,
Right.
Right, so we don't really know what the number is going to be anyway.
right, but we're required to have an extra classroom activities fund treasurer. It's just a requirement of the state, so.
No,
we're
I'm
looking
just
for-
saying that we don't have, I mean, it's Mr. Cashacone was just asking how many clubs, do we know how many clubs or whatever, but we don't because we haven't discussed it yet.
You're correct.
Right.
There's a listing of the clubs that could exist in the teacher's contract, but we don't
Right.
know till the kids come back and sign up for the clubs, which ones we're actually gonna run. You're right.
Right, okay.
So would this person keep a checkbook for the senior class? Or does like the senior class advisor do that? Or does the senior class elect their own treasurer and then the treasurer does that? Who?
No. There's a central treasurer that's supposed to do that. The kids, anything to do with the money, it has to go to the central treasurer. They log it in, but the central treasurer has to actually deposit the money that they receive. They write any checks on all accounts for any services rendered or purchasing of events or supplies. They balance the monthly reports. They work with the auditors. They do the end of the year report for the auditor. They make sure all the receipts add up, what was spent. They make sure all the paperwork is submitted properly and in a timely fashion by the students. They pay the taxes on any taxable items and they keep account of that. They pay the taxes in March of every year. They prepare the statement of profit loss paperwork, the payouts of the stipends. They make sure all the hours. There's a list of duties that this person does, and again, it's a requirement it's a required position by the state.
Jeff, is this all done out of normal working hours or this is done during regular working hours? And how many hours are actually required to do this function?
There's no requirement because, districts are different sizes. There's no requirement for the actual number of hours worked, but yeah, it's above and beyond the other duties that they do during the day. That's right.
So it happens during the day, so they're not working after hours. So I'll use an example,
So
right?
if
So
they do anything, if they obviously have to interact with kids during the day. So if they do anything that takes up hours during the day, they have to make up whatever time they're not doing on their regular job, after hours. But at the end of the day, it all weighs out.
I don't, what I'm saying is like, let me use a different example. So the volleyball coach spends 2 hours a day, every day after school from September through November. That's just for practices. So that's 10 hours a week minimum, sometimes 12 a week, right? Just for practices. Games can go up to 6, 7 hours traveling, 3 to 10 sometimes. So that accumulates quite a bit of number of hours, and that's why we pay a stipend, because it's out of their normal job specification, right? It's not something that happens during the school day, it's happening after the school day is over. So the question is what portion of this stipend is actually from after the school day ends?
If any.
If any, exactly.
Again, if they have to interact with any teachers, they're going to do that. If that happens during the day, they're going to make up the hours afterwards. I don't know that we keep a log of during the day and after the day. I can ask Brian if he does that. I have no idea, but at the end of the day, it's a job that is required, and every district has one. And the amount of the stipend here is pretty much the median for the districts that responded in Orange County. And we're following the same procedures and protocols that all the other districts are doing.
I have a question. If we don't do this stipend and we decide that we don't need this person, even though it's mandatory by the state, does that mean that we're not allowed to have any clubs?
I'm not sure whether you can have the club, but I certainly don't know how it can be facilitated. And again, as you mentioned, you'll be out of compliance. So, there's current issues that have to be addressed. There's checks for Matt Bus. There's check for state taxes to be paid, stipends, set up for fundraisers that are coming up. A bunch of work has to be done for the auditors as they're going to do their year-end audit. The extra classroom activities fund is a separate set of books, and they need to interact with this person so they can complete that portion of the audit. We have to submit that audit to the state in October. So there's a lot of things here. So I urge you to, it's $3,800 a year. As I said, it's in line with all the other districts. It's a requirement of the state. I suggest and recommend that we appoint this person and allow them to continue on with the work.
Jeff, are
Thank
you
you.
saying that every other district pays that person $3,800, or every other district has a person assigned to do that, whether it's paid or not?
What I said to you, Gary, was every district has somebody they appoint, and the median of the stipends that they get in the districts that responded from Orange County are paying in about that neighborhood, about $3,800 a year. That's right.
Someone previously had asked the question, I don't remember the answer. This historically wasn't a paid position until recently. So how many years has it been a paid or stipend?
I know when I got here, it was brought to my attention, this position and also the registrar position. These folks were doing these jobs and they weren't getting paid for it, and they felt it was unfair. So at that point, I made a recommendation to the board, which was accepted at that time. And for probably the last 2 or 3 years or more, whatever it's been, has been accepted and approved by the board. And so I know that we approved the stipend for the registrar, so I don't know why we would do one and single out the other.
So I think there was an answer in there so this has been a stipend position for 2 or 3 years,
That's right.
but not before that.
Not to my knowledge. I wasn't here before that,
Recently stipend.
but I don't believe it had been prior.
Do, I mean, in the, in the big scheme of things, I understand, but, we are supposed to, be stewards of the money. And I'm curious if $3,800 is the median, and we are the smallest, or are we the smallest school district in the county? I would assume we are. I guess, well, maybe Greenwood Lake, because they don't have a high school, would have fewer things than we do. But I would think we have the fewest things, the fewest clubs, the smallest amount of money to keep track of. Should we be paying, the average of what Monroe Woodbury and Warwick and Newburgh are paying for this position?
Well, I guess if we do something different to this position, we should do the same for the registrar.
Perhaps.
We shouldn't
I
treat
thought
the
we had
position separately.
But that
I
they
have a
weren't-
question. Do we need to approve this tonight?
I would, because we got to get the audit done and the auditors are busy, with their work, and Brian needs this stuff done and the district needs to move forward with a number of these issues. So, it should have been done at the reorg meeting. Again, it's only $3,800. It's an important job and it's required by the state.
Well, maybe somebody else on the board has a suggestion that they want to change the price, but we would need to find out if those people would be willing to do it at that price.
The longer we wait, the worse off it gets. We don't want to hold.
I'm just saying, are we that we have to have these people in place tomorrow? Or can it wait like 2 weeks or something that we can find out answers?
When we talked about this at the, I don't know if it was the July meeting, it might have been the July meeting. I was looking for a history of this stipend. And I wonder, I mean, in the past, this was one of the, like the pesticide person gets appointed to that, and, all of those positions that, kind of are in the realm of what people are already doing. And they get appointed to these things. And now we've changed it to a stipend.
For 3 years, Dan. It's been a stipend for 3 years.
It's been 3 years.
And it's not something Brian can do?
No, I think Brian's got his hands full.
My question is, like, legally, could Brian do it? Not if he's busy today or tomorrow.
I don't know that it would conflict with his other duties, Gary. I don't recommend it, but if you're asking legally, can he do it? I'd have to do a little more homework on that, but again, it's $3,800 and it's a required position, and we really need to move on with the audit and other items.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to add to this?
We did approve other stipended positions. So I think if we're going to look at how stipends are created and how we account for what is being done for the money, we need to do that as a whole. And I do know, from working with student council, that things have to go through Lori. The student treasurer has to present the request for money or the deposit, sign on it, but Lori has to double check. I've seen, some of the requirements or responsibilities of her position. So I guess what I'm saying is, if we don't look at all the stipends, that maybe we should approve this and look at them for the future. Can those things be rolled into their regular job? Can they do it during their regular day? I don't have the answers to that.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what happens, in the future, I think we need to do a much better job of setting up the reorg meeting. You know, way in advance, and if there are changes on the board, include the people that, you know, as that agenda is being written up. So we don't, you know, or whoever's on the board doesn't walk into
It's a surprise.
the list and the surprise. All right, I'm gonna support it. Can I have or we have a motion to discuss, right? Have a motion to move this?
I think we.
Yeah,
We moved it, just.
Motion,
all in favor?
Aye.
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 I
Opposed?
also,
Opposed, so 6-0.
5-1.
Opposed?
Yep.
So 5-1.
5-1.
I just want to say that I want to recall. I have a little bit of deja vu that, like, whether it was 1 year ago or 2 year ago, during the summertime, we had the same kind of conversations and said, let's look at all the stipends for next year. And next thing you know, a year
I
passed.
did a spreadsheet.
I'd like to have a list, Jeff, of all the stipends that we have at the next meeting, so we could at least start to take a look at them and track them and see the money that we're spending is actually what we should be spending, whether it's required as a role and whether or not it could be rolled into someone's current job. Right? If it's needed, it's needed. I understand that, but I think we should look at stipends overall. It's not, I mean, we're talking about this activity fund, but I think we should look at all of them holistically to decide what we're gonna do going forward.
And job descriptions,
Yes, there should be.
you know, an org
descriptions.
chart with job descriptions and
Yes,
so we can put. All right, I'm going to, make a motion to move, number 3, approval of the food services consultant to, after we return from executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I,
Was that an opposed? No, okay, good. So 6-0.
I'm not opposed.
I think she said she's opposed.
You are, you're in and out, Heather. You are opposed?
She said she is not opposed.
Not
Okay,
opposed. I'm,
Yeah.
We are all in favor.
In and
Okay,
out,
got it.
Okay,
sorry, I was just clarifying.
That's fine.
okay, good. Okay, can I have a motion to enter into executive session
So move.
to,
Motion. Sorry,
all in favor?
aye.
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 No, I'm sure you're fine. Okay, are we recording again? Okay. Can I have a motion to return from executive session?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Before we went into executive session, we moved 3.1, the approval of the food services consultant to after the agenda, after the executive session. Can I have a motion to move 3.1, approval of the food services consultant?
So moved. Second.
Motion.
Is there any discussion?
I just think that given what's happened with the chef, that we absolutely have no choice but to employ. And I was impressed with what she said.
I'm very glad to hear that after some time, we're now going to get some action on our breakfast. Yeah.
So, all those in favor of approving that contract?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? You wrote down that list, right?
Yeah. But we have this one too, so
Oh, okay.
that's done. I'm not sure what the order is, but we also have this too, right?
Yeah, okay. Can I have a motion to authorize the hiring of Michael Cogliano to be the interim principal of George Grant Mason Elementary School at a salary of $174,000 a year.
I make a motion.
Motion.
I make a motion to add that resolution to the calendar,
To the
to the
agenda.
agenda, sorry.
Second,
All in favor of adding that to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have a motion to approve that item that we just added to the agenda. Motion.
Second.
So moved.
Discussion? I'd just like to say that Michael has a history with the district that has been nothing but positive, and I'm looking forward to working with him. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Good. Okay. I'd like to make the chair will entertain a motion to add to the agenda a resolution restoring the access to the security cameras to all of the employees who had such access in the year 23-24.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor of adding that to the agenda then?
Any discussion on that one?
Any discussion?
I'd like to hear from the security professionals on their thought process around who should have access to these videos. So I'd like to table this until the next meeting after we've had a chance to discuss.
Okay, there is a motion to table adding this to the agenda. Is there a second on the motion to table adding this to the agenda?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to table?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye,
Aye.
Nay.
5 opposed. Okay, so can I have a vote on the motion to add it to the agenda?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Opposed.
Now that we've added the item to the agenda, can I have a motion to move that item?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I would welcome any security expert on their opinions on this, but until I'm convinced otherwise, we have a very small staff. We don't have people with a bank of monitors. So the more eyes and the more minutes that people are looking at the cameras, I see that as a good thing, as long as we trust everybody. And I haven't heard otherwise.
With school opening on Tuesday, there's also, it's not just a security function that these cameras serve. There's a utilitarian function as well. When a child has been released from a class and someone calls and says, this child was released to go to the bathroom 20 minutes ago, did not return. You don't need a police officer, but somebody, one of the secretaries could find that. At the end of the school day, when they want to know whether to send the buses, I'm sure in both buildings, the secretaries check the cameras to see if there are still kids getting books out of their locker or
Give the all
whatever.
clear.
To give the all clear to send the buses. So it's not all security. Some of it is just to help the school function better. And, you know, the more eyes on the hallways. If the security experts can convince us of otherwise, then I would listen to that. But for now, with school opening on Tuesday, I think we need those eyes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of restoring the camera access? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed.
Donna, did you vote?
Yes.
I didn't vote. It's 5-2. Sheriff's Department.
We tabled the contract for the sheriff's department in a previous meeting. Right? I will entertain a motion to take that off the table.
So moved.
There a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, we're taking it off of the agenda?
No, taking it off the table, so it's back
Okay,
on the
got it.
agenda.
Thank you.
Previously.
No, we have this contract with the sheriff's department. Can I have a motion to move it for discussion? Okay,
I'm against this, and I can't get over the request that we made to the sheriff's department to participate in what everybody agreed on what was the best plan without getting into the too much details for security purposes. And the fact that they won't agree to that is the deal breaker for me. Nothing else. There's a second best plan and a third best plan, but if they don't agree to the best plan that was agreed upon in the room, I think we have to wait until we can we go with two and decide whether we get private security for the third person or wait until Tuxedo can provide a third person.
In the interim, what if they cannot provide it on day number one? What are we gonna do about our exterior operations?
We were dealing with one. So we're doubling that. We're just not tripling it yet, in my opinion.
and I think that, again, not to talk too much about this in public, but I think it's fair that we've, had people at desks before. And if we need to have a person at a desk for the first couple of days while they figure that out, I think that that's fine. So I also am not in support of this contract.
Is it a year contract? Or can we get out of it?
With,
So,
with the sheriff.
with the sheriff,
I don't know if there was a cancellation clause.
I thought there was. I thought there was in the police department for Tuxedo. The one we ratified for Tuxedo, and I believe they were fairly identical. And the hangup was with the contracts with the sheriffs themselves, which made it unworkable. So, but I think there was,
I remember Tuxedo definitely said they mirrored it from
yeah,
Orange County. So
They did.
based on that, I would think there is. I just can't be 100% certain.
so that if Tuxedo does come up or, hire more part-time officers, in which they implied that there would be a third person to work into our rotation, we could break the contract with the sheriff's department and have,
we're not 100% sure.
But they thought that would be at least 6 months, best case scenario. Best case scenario, 6 months. So we're talking,
However,
next year.
by the contract that we're currently carrying could extend for 6 months. 6 months. According to what Mr. White put out there.
Okay,
You got it?
our board clerk has handed me a copy of the deputy sheriff's contract.
Start in the back, go backwards and go forward, right? Probably in the back.
It's in paragraph 1. I'm gonna make fun of you.
There's a termination for convenience clause under 9B.
In addition to termination for cause as provided in section 9A, either party may on 90-day calendar days notice. The other party delivered in a manner provided under section 1A, terminate this agreement at any time for its convenience. If either party terminates this agreement under the county, the school district will pay the county all amounts of due and owing for the use of the SSDs through the date of such termination.
What was the termination on the security firm? Was that 30 days?
Somebody said 30 days.
Jeff said 30 days.
There's more flexibility with the security firm than there is with the sheriffs.
And so,
Jeff, are you back? You're back with us?
Yep, I've been here.
Okay, good. The private security firm termination notice, 30 days.
Will, I don't have that with me. Let me see if I can find it, but I don't think I have it on my fingertips.
Thank you. Thank you.
so the, any further discussion on the sheriff's contract? Then,
I personally feel that we had it in our budget, the money, and the most security that we can have for our children, to me, is the most important thing.
Are you saying hire 6?
What?
Are you saying hire 6 cops? We all want as many as we can afford. That wasn't the issue.
Why are we being sarcastic?
Because I'm
We have,
asking you.
because I am saying that I would like to see a sheriff outside of the school.
Somebody's gonna need to.
Does that contract say 6 sheriffs?
No, but could it be a tuxedo police? This is discussion. Could it be a tuxedo police officer?
We
Outside?
already agreed that we would love to have another tuxedo officer, but they cannot provide it for us right now.
You're missing my point. If you want a uniformed police officer out in the parking lot on the first day of school, that can be accomplished by someone wearing an Orange County Deputy Sheriff's uniform or somebody wearing a Town of Tuxedo Police Department uniform. So my question is a serious
It
question.
could be accomplished by either, but then I want also an officer inside each school. So I do not want a security guard in one school, an officer, an armed officer in another school, and an armed officer outside the school, because if something happens in the school where the security guard is, then what is the value of those children compared to the value of the other children in the other school?
No, I understand your position now. Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
we have a,
It's this.
Yeah.
If Tuxedo is able to provide us with another officer in the future, are we of the mind that we will go for that? We will terminate the security guard and go for that?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm just being realistic. They said it's not happening in the short term.
So then, maybe I look at this crazy, but budgetary wise, it's probably gonna cost us the same amount,
Because the same.
right? So maybe I see Kimberly's
Yeah,
point,
yeah, I understand.
that we're sort of committing that as soon as Tuxedo is ready to provide us with the third man, we're gonna go
We're
for
gonna
it.
terminate the contract.
Right,
My issue, without going into the security detail, was
rotation.
the
There-
number one plan won't be accomplished by employing an Orange County deputy.
and we'll be forcing the tuxedo officers into a plan that they did not want and didn't think that they were agreeing to when they signed the contract. All right, I mean, we've kicked this,
Kick it around.
we've
Okay,
kicked
we
it
can-
around as much as we could kick it around. All in favor of the Orange County Sheriff's Department contract?
I,
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. 5 nays. I'd like to add an item to the agenda. That item being that we authorize the administration to enter into a contract with a security firm to complete the rotation that our security experts have recommended for us.
So moved.
Second.
Just to clarify, armed, correct?
Armed,
I mean, I don't think,
yes.
so that's the motion and second agree to that?
Yes.
Yes.
can you repeat that? You're saying the security guard is going to be armed?
Yes.
Yeah,
That was always that.
the plan. The difference is $1 an hour. So they're licensed and trained to carry the,
That was the apples per apples comparison, correct?
so, I've had a motion to add it to the agenda and a second. Any discussion about adding it to the agenda?
Special.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed to adding it to the agenda? Okay. Can I have a,
Yeah, I'm opposed to adding it to the agenda.
I'm sorry, I can't work this mute. I'm opposed.
Okay.
Information. Okay.
Mr. Kmar had a procedural question?
No, I just had a piece of information, but I didn't know if it was open for discussion. or share.
Sure, jump
There's
in.
no objection.
Okay, Jeff, are you still on?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we have the ability to get an armed security personnel. So I just want the board to have their awareness of it potentially would be an unarmed security professional.
If
That's
there-
all.
I know there's been.
Yeah.
In 2023, there were some changes in the law.
Yeah.
So that may, in terms of schools giving authority to people to carry guns on the ground. So Albany may have changed the laws recently to prevent that from happening. But until we know otherwise, we're authorizing the best we can, I think.
I recollect, it might have been a nicer, our insurer debate of whether we could have armed or not. So I just felt like. we wanted that
yeah,
information.
I don't know what NYSER's position's gonna be. And as far as armed people on the campus, the law change was permitting law enforcement officials to carry on school district grounds. The law prior to that it was in the hands of the superintendent to decide who could enter school grounds with a weapon or not.
Yeah, that's section of the penal law 265, but I haven't read that in a little while. But I believe there should be, if I recollect, a licensed security guard. So you can't say math teacher carry a gun. You can't say parent carry a gun, but a trained, licensed, security force, I'm pretty sure you can. So I would actually say I'm 95% positive. But that law just changed last year.
Yeah,
But it shouldn't
before
have
we,
been trying to do.
I would suggest talking to the insurance company and the attorney, just to.
So
And,
as we stand right now, we're gonna have tuxedo police. We will not have a sheriff. And we're supposed to execute on a contract. Tomorrow's Friday and we start school on Tuesday and Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, remember, but we still had one armed cop we had none for a long time. We had one for a little while. Now we're gonna have two on opening day with the plan to have.
But nobody
third-
outside.
Oh. There's one outside.
There's
Yeah.
gonna be one outside all the time.
Definitely outside.
Then who's gonna be manning the desks? There's two people.
I'm uncomfortable talking about security issues in the public session.
well, we've talked about this a lot, and this plan wasn't brought up.
This plan was brought
Was,
up.
was one, it was one of the
50 times.
options. It was have the relief person or have the sheriffs.
We have a motion pending to add that resolution to the agenda.
No,
Did we add it? Did we add it?
yeah,
Okay, because that's, I'm gonna blame you. You threw me off.
and now
So
and
make
we
a-
may not even need to enter into a contract. There may already be a contract and it's just as easy as calling, the company and telling them to send someone on Tuesday. I don't know.
So now that it's on the agenda, I move the item.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion on the item?
Can we authorize who's gonna make that call to make sure there is somebody here on Tuesday?
It'll be the acting administration,
Like anything else.
yeah, like anything else. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
The motion to add to the agenda that employee 8/29/24 go on a FEMLA leave until we receive documentation from his physician or her physician that they are ready to return to work full-time in district. Can I have a motion to add that to the agenda?
So move.
Second. Discussion about adding it to the agenda. Can I have a motion to move the item?
So, do we need to add it though, right?
Yeah, we just added it.
Did we vote? No,
Yeah, we
motion
did.
second, no discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
So now I move that item.
Is there a second? Okay. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed.
Like we're still leaving something. Did we miss something?
Yeah. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Unless you
No.
think.
No. No. What about another contract that we have to approve?
For some, interim.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, part two of that, sorry.
Okay.
That's right, right. I'm like, this. Yeah.
The contracts, right?
Yes.
The teacher.
The teacher contract.
Oh, the teacher
Yeah,
contract.
teacher contract.
Yeah, the other one, we don't need we're gonna need all right, let's deal with the teacher contract.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, can I have a motion to add an item to the agenda that the Tuxedo Union Free School District approve the memorandum of understanding that we received from our negotiators regarding a contract with the teachers union?
So moved.
So moved.
Discussion.
Yeah, and I think you might have to read the resolution that David gave us. It's in the executive content.
Does anybody have that?
Yeah. Unless it was added
Are
later.
you on board, Doc Samurai? Yeah, your screen doesn't look like ours. I don't think the district clerk gets they should get. I hate to do it to you, but we're gonna need it, all right? It should, Bonnie.
Something else.
It took me, in order to get the executive content today, I had to log in and out a couple of times. Before it would pop up. Either that or it was added in between the ins and outs, but Dr. Cogliano's resume wasn't there until I went in and out a couple of times.
I spell my name with a Y. Sorry about
Mine is also with a Y, G-A-R.
that.
Every once in a while I forget.
It's always. Looks like we did that.
And is there a stipend that needed to be approved? Or is
I think we, we need to work with David and see if there's,
Okay. That's right.
and then we may have to do a Zoom in order to pull that off.
So this should be the last thing. I knew it was something in the teacher's contract.
Yeah, we need to get
We need to
authorize it.
finalize that first, so take a date. Like once we have it finalized, we go to Zoom on Saturday or something.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
We don't have a person yet. We don't want to say we're not assigning somebody, but we want to be part of the process. Saying go find a person, we're saying we're find a person and
And,
so just move your motion to read this, and then we can just fix the minutes that way.
okay. I'd like a resolution to move, to change the motion that we passed about Dr. Cogliano to be it resolved that the board president and the superintendent of schools are hereby authorized to sign a contract in lieu of probation with Dr. Michael Cogliano to serve as the elementary school principal for a period commencing on September 1st, 2024 and ending on December 31st, 2024, as presented to the board at this meeting. A copy of said agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So I move to amend the prior motion to read this way.
You're a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 It's just like,
Question.
okay, this motion about the I need a motion.
We had a motion pending,
Pending.
so you withdrawing that?
Withdraw that motion.
Okay, so I think the minutes are good.
And we're going to, I need a motion to add to the agenda. Whereas the negotiating teams for the Tuxedo Teachers Association and the district signed a memorandum of agreement dated August the 26th, 2024, setting forth the terms of a successor collective bargaining agreement to the collective bargaining agreement between the parties, which expired on June 30th, 2024. Whereas the Board of Education ratification is required by the memorandum of agreement to make its terms effective. Now, therefore, the board hereby ratifies the provisions of the August 26, 2024 MOA and authorizes the expenditure of those monies necessary to fund the provision of the 2024 through 2027 collective bargaining agreement between the district and the Tuxedo Teachers Association.
I move to add that to the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adding this to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Good.
I move the resolution for passage.
Okay,
Second.
is there, I know that there was an issue with some of the board members had about the budget impacts on this. And Jeff, did you have something to say about the budget impact on this?
Yes, I had spoken to Brian, and when he was costing it out, he believes that this proposal was within $10,000, the amount that was budgeted. So I strongly support this resolution and think it is a win-win for the district, the kids, and the teachers.
I appreciate that. I would like to add that, as far as, the information I have is that the teachers were, enthusiastic about the contract and thought that it was fair and reasonable. I think it's fair and reasonable for the taxpayers and the teachers. And I urge my fellow trustees to support this memorandum of agreement and this contract. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? No? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Stayed.
And let the record show that trustee Scanlon did not participate in the deliberation, negotiation, and abstained from voting.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify that the Orange County Sheriff's Department had sent a letter saying that if we did not pass their their contract, that they wanted me to let them know that, so that they would cease operations here. So I'm just making sure you want me to do that. Let them know that we're not moving forward with the Sheriff's Department, right?
That we're not gonna move forward with the Sheriff's Department, and I can do that if that's what we should do. I want to make sure that it gets done. Can I have a motion? Oh,
Just out of curiosity, before we leave, elementary school principal, do we need to adjust those dates or do we need any action on those? Or is this we're allowing the contract to move forward as it is? Move forward as it is.
yeah,
Excellent.
with
Thank
the
you.
numbers that we
Yes.
put, the 174.
Well, no, the current employee. It's.
Yeah, she's
We don't need to do anything with the dates.
So so Dr. Cagliano will be here Tuesday?
hopefully Dr. Cogliano will be here Tuesday, and so will
If not earlier.
our current principal, and they'll be able to hand off what's going on.
Yeah, but when is she released after that? Do we have to approve a release date?
She already has a date.
She has a-
She has a
So
date,
we're-
sir.
You're
for
keeping
20.
her through the 20th?
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Making sure no one has anything else. So moved.
Second.
the move.
Favor?
Did it.
Aye.
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 At midnight.
You kept it
Just
at the
under
same
5.
minute.
Guys. Hello, security.
Still correct. Sleep for 3 hours.
She did